This week on Profile, Deborah Cannon, President and CEO at the Houston Zoo.
I wake up about a little before 5. Typically I'm on the treadmill at 5, and then I'm usually downstairs about 6:15, 6:20. Have a quick breakfast, read the papers, put the dog in and out, feed him.
So much better, isn't it, darling? Yes.
And then typically I leave about 6:45. Okay. Back. When I retired from the bank, everybody kept saying, what are you going to do next? And I said, I think I would like to do something in the nonprofit world, because having served on a lot of different boards, I always felt like if you ran a nonprofit like a business, how much better you could do with delivering on your mission. And so I thought I would really like to make sure that that really worked. It wasn't good just in theory. And so I got it, but I really hoped to take a year off before I went back to work. And so I got a call from a headhunter saying that a number of their board members, a headhunter representing the zoo, a number of their board members had suggested that they call me, that they were really interested in talking to me. And at that point, I wasn't ready to go back to work. So I just said, I'm not ready to go back to work yet. But they convinced me to at least look at, and they sent me a lot of information. And the more I read it, I got really intrigued by it. And so I went over and looked at the zoo, and it had improved quite a bit, noticeably. And so we started talking, and one thing led to another, and I agreed to go to work there. But we negotiated February so that I could still have a little bit more time to play before I went back to work.
Have you always been this excited about work?
I've always enjoyed my work. But this is a lot more fun, and it's a lot more stimulating and a lot more interesting than the bank. I liked banking because no 2 days were ever alike. And you had lots of interesting, unique customers, so that was interesting. The people at the bank were always interesting. So it was never boring. And so that's the part I really enjoyed about banking, and it's even more stimulating and even more interesting at the zoo. Deborah Cannon. Good morning. How are you?
The paintings in your
great.
office. Who did your paintings?
Well, this one was done by Roscoe, who's no longer with us, but he was our old male sea lion. And so you can see he had a wonderful style. This is done by it was a collaboration of two of the orangs, one of our adult females, one of our adult males. This was done by Mitai, our female elephant. Elephants are matriarchal, and she is the lead. She's the matriarch. And then this one was done by Rocky, our cougar. And as you can see, Rocky really gets into it. So the way we do that is they put paint on the canvas, they slide it under and hold on to one edge of it, and then he comes over and he does everything from rubbing his paws, he rubs on it, he licks on it, he really enjoys it. And that's a form of enrichment because it's very stimulating. And so when they pulled it out, when they pulled it out, he didn't want to let go, but he did let go of it. So then they turned it around, they put more paint on this side, and he came back. And this time he was determined he was not letting go of it. He was having too much fun. So he kept a piece of it. You want to just walk?
Licking my sweater, and I totally forgot about it until somebody said today, Miles really liked your sweater. I said, oh.
Okay. Yeah, you may want to.
Oh, thank you.
Thank you, everything.
How would people describe me? That's an interesting question. Very direct. I'm impatient. I'm always want to be there, want to have something done, want to have it finished. Fairly out there in terms of aggressive, but hopefully not in a bad way. Most people would describe me as being extroverted. But in fact, I usually profile out to be slightly introverted. And the reason for that is, the days here are so busy and you're so active, and so there were literally months when I would have 1 or 2 evenings at home, you know, at night. So when I have a chance to sit and relax, what I like to do is just sit and relax and read a good book, drink a glass of wine, and be calm.
What have you learned throughout your career that you'd like to pass on to others?
Well, you know, I think one thing you talked about being competitive, and I certainly am. But one of the things that I think is really important is in business relationships, you have to create a win-win. You know, for instance, we outsource our food and beverage, and we outsource the gift shop. And you know, when we were negotiating those contracts, I think they were kind of surprised because they expected me to come in and just hammer them to the wall. But if they're not winning, and we both have to win. Otherwise, if you have one party that's unhappy in the contract, it doesn't work. You know, both parties, you have to create win-wins for both parties. So I guess that would be one thing. You know, I think it's important we talked a little bit about mentoring, and I think mentoring younger people is very important. You know, they are who's going to run it when you leave, and it's important to set people up to succeed. I started a mentor program for women at the bank because, you know, there had never been one. Men don't tend to mentor women the same as they do men, you know, for a lot of reasons. And so I actually had started a program here I started in Dallas before I moved to Houston, and then did it here in Houston, and it got carried into other cities across the franchise. And so that's, you know, it is important. It is important to help them, and to, you know, because it secures everybody's future.
How do you find that balance between your personal and your professional life?
I don't really. I never have, though. You know, but that's why, again, when I have a little few minutes for myself, then I really don't want. I want to take it and just relax.
We're not really going to find you as the type of personality that's sitting just on the beach with a drink in her hand and being put.
No.
Golf isn't going to do it either.
No, I actually played golf for a while. When my daughter went away to college, I took it up, but it was too frustrating. You know, it's just, I like to do things well, and you have to put so much time into golf, and I didn't have enough time to put into it that I could do it well. So I just said it wasn't worth it.
And your husband, does he work like you do?
No. No, he's always been more balanced. He's actually now retired. He was a banker also, which is where we met. But he's always had more balance in his life. I just tend to do things to an extreme.
So he can accompany you now.
Oh, and he's always been great. I mean, he's always been great about, you know, going to. I've always had a lot of functions to go to. He's always been great about going on those and never, you know, never complaining and being the good, you know. And he can talk to anybody. So, you know, he's always been great.
How do you compare or keep tabs on some of the other major attractions in town?
Well, we look at museums primarily, and the museum that we probably attract the closest audience is the Museum of Natural Science, and of course they're just up the road from us on Golf Course Drive. But we look at, you know, I kind of try to monitor their attendance. We look at the types of things they're doing. They offer a lot of classes. We offer classes. We both do birthday parties. So, you know, we do benchmark each other.
And you're competitive, so
yes, that's true.
so you want to know, and you can use some of that to motivate and look at the tactics and tasks that you use.
We do. On the other hand, right now, one of the things I would like to do is try to find a way to do a combined ticket. And so we've talked about it a little bit. One of the things, the train is outside. Most people think the train is part of the zoo, but it is not. And until recently, it was run by a family. And now, as of, I guess maybe it's been a year now, the Herman Park, the Conservancy for Herman Park has taken that over. And so they're running it now, and they've just redone it and are getting ready to expand the line. But so it makes a perfect, you know, opportunity to do the museum, the zoo, and the train seem to be a real nice package.